We live? Yep, we are live. We are back.
Yes. It took a
We
little
are back.
hiatus.
Leveraging your L's. I feel like it's been forever since we've been on here. What, probably about 2, 3. Well, I want to say 3 weeks. Has it been 2, 3 weeks?
I know it's definitely been at least two, but we probably three, probably three.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get on here, but for some Tuesdays, so I had joined a new networking group, and so when we were supposed to do our show, I had to attend one of the events, just meeting new people, right? And so
Mhm.
then the following week was supposed to get on. Wife gets into a car accident, so
Okay.
I was like, oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
all day. So thank God she's all right. Just
Yes.
the vehicle took the vehicle took the majority of the damage.
It's
And
good.
then what? I think the following week, I think you had something that popped up as well. So
Yeah.
just we've been dealing with life.
Yeah. Life been life.
Yeah, life has been definitely been lifing for sure. And then on top of that, we still got our businesses that we got to run as well. So sometimes certain things gotta take a back seat, but we here today,
Hey.
here to give value as always. So first things first, how have you been? How's everything been going with you?
Man, everything's been good. We are what? This is the first month of Q2, right? We
Yep,
finally in Q2.
you two is
Yeah.
here. Yes.
No, we've been good. We've been good. Adding more to my officiant business. Really digging my teeth into this fellowship. That has been amazing. A lot of great information, a lot of new things that I'm adding to my business, a lot of ideas that I have that I'm like, oh, like I thought about it, but to have the support, to have the guidance with the mentorship and stuff like that, it just you get 10 toes down into your idea and then more and more and more come to you. So I'm very excited about that. We just had our second wedding officiant social and
How was that?
yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun. It was cool because shout out to Fallon. She's a Weddings by Paper Mill. She came. It was my first time meeting her in person, but what people don't know is when I first got started, with my wedding business, she had sent me a referral. I had a couple call me and they were just like, oh, we got your referral from, the Fallon. And at that time, I didn't know who she was. I just, you have someone on Instagram, you don't really know them. You know what I mean? You just know what
Right.
their Instagram name is. But, I end up booking that wedding. It's going to be next month. Me and the girl actually went to college together and stuff like that. So it was already, that type of connection, but they would have never came my way if I didn't get that, that little alley oop over there. So that was my first time meeting her in person. So that was really dope. So I enjoyed her and her wisdom and her ideas are like so dope. She's like into, like fandom weddings, which are like themed weddings. So like Harry Potter
What's it
style,
called?
Disney princess style. It's called fandom.
Fan of like if you're a fan of like a particular show or something like that.
Yes. Yep. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was actually kind of dope. So, sometimes you have couples that want like a whole Disney princess, theme type of wedding,
Mhm.
or couples who are like into like Lord of the Rings or Star Trek or Star Wars, or, just these different shows that they probably bonded over and, grew in love with and have a lot of commonality with their partner and they want to represent that within their ceremony. Sometimes finding an officiant who's down to add in some of those, quotes or dress up or play the part, of that character is hard to find officiants that want to do that. And she's one of those that want to do that and loves doing that. So like Comic-Con and all of that is like right up her alley. And it's its own little niche that people don't, really pay attention to.
Yeah.
Even venues do it. There's a venue called the Art Factory out here in Paterson, New Jersey, and they have literally themed weddings. So they'll like decorate your whole ceremony, your whole reception with whatever theme you want it to be, whatever, show you want it to showcase, they'll do it for you. So to find an officiant that does that, I was like, oh, that is so smart. Like you're going to find very specific couples who want that
Yeah.
and they're going to pay you because officiant's not doing it. I'm not dressing up as Yoda if you ask me to. Like I'm not doing it. But she might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned a little bit about that. That was super dope. But I loved it. It was great. It's a good time.
No, I think that's super dope. I think the cool thing about that is we always talk about finding your niche, right? Finding different ways to stand out, right? I mean, if you offering generalized services, okay, I can go to another notary or to another officiant who offers that services. I mean, what's going to make you stand out? And that's the first time I ever actually heard of that, a fandom type wedding, which is actually pretty cool because if you have experience with that, you pretty much know how to handle those particular weddings. I would say you kind of a visionary in a sense because you can pretty much
Right.
hear what the person or what your client is looking for. You can see the vision in your head and actually bring it to reality. And how you can actually bring that vision to life. So that's very dope. That's really cool. Now,
Yeah.
is that something that you may end up looking into doing?
Nah.
Respect.
No. Yeah,
I
that's
respect that.
absolutely out of my wheelhouse. But I feel like, typically couples who are looking for that, like they get super into whatever like that what do you call them? Like the series is. So like, there's like Star Wars, they got like
Yeah,
all of these different movies. Like I've never seen
yeah,
a Star Wars movie. I've never watched Harry Potter all the way through. Like the most you can get me on is some Disney princess stuff. And it depends on, which princess it is. So
yeah,
that's as far as I'll go. But even something as like that's really a custom, unique ceremony, especially when, you're bringing in lines from the movie that, really, kind of fit. It's like not everybody in the audience is going to get it, but your couple is going to get it. The other
yeah.
people who watch those shows, like they're going to get it. And those are those fun, unique moments that you can incorporate through a ceremony. And if a couple is looking to like incorporate that, that's very unique in itself. So
Yeah.
you definitely are niched out. You're separated from, the pack in that type of regard. So I thought that was super fly. I was like, it ain't for me, and it fit her personality too. Very
Yeah.
bubbly, very theatrical. Like I just felt like it fits right on in. So I can see whatever couples that are looking for that will align with her perfectly in terms of personality. That
Yeah,
was
I would
fly.
imagine, and I would imagine too that for a fishing that's doing that, you would have to, even if you haven't seen Harry Potter or seen like any of those type of movies, whoever type of fandom wedding that your client is requesting, I would assume you would need to immerse yourself in that type of content, so that way when the wedding does come, you got to be well prepared.
Yep.
If it's like those little one-liners that the like I said the groom and the bride may get, but like I said, but the audience doesn't get. I'm
Right.
pretty sure you have to immerse yourself in pop culture just in general so you can actually execute that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the bag is much different too, because that's a lot
Yes.
of work.
Yes. Yes.
The bag is very different with that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty cool. Okay. Damn,
Yeah.
man, you literally learn something new every day. I didn't think that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty dope.
I thought that was fly.
Yeah, man, wow. It just got me thinking like you literally can make money doing literally anything. Like, and I think that's a cool thing about what we do. It's the creativity aspect from that. I think that's so dope because I never in a thousand years I would have thought that someone may do a Harry Potter wedding, which is I ain't never seen a Harry Potter movie. Might say bits and pieces, but can't do it. Never
No.
will do it.
No.
You can put a gun in my head, and
No.
I'm not doing it. But
It's
a
not
Star Wars
happening.
wedding, yeah, that's interesting that you can actually pull that off. So that's pretty dope. I like that. I like the creative standpoint from that.
Yeah. So you kind of see it, you'll see it in the decor, you'll see it in probably like the dresses, the cake, like those that's a lot of times people do it that way, but like to have your officiant like actually like play the part again is not a lot of professional officiants that's going to do that. They don't care how much the bag is and none of that because it's like you said, it's a lot of research. You have to commit to that character.
Yeah,
You have to probably dress the part as well, so you're not going to be your regular cute dapper self. You're going to embody this whole character, and you got to already be like one of those type of persons that love those kind of things to even begin with, to even think about doing stuff like that. So that was dope because it was a totally different perspective of the wedding industry that I've never considered. I've seen it again like for the venue, for the decor, but not for an officiant. Nah.
yeah. I like it. I think that's dope. Because again, it's all about finding ways to stand out from the rest. I mean, that's a really important piece, especially in business. Finding ways to stand out. What do you do? What I was just talking about this with my mentor Herb, man. What is your competitive advantage? What can you do better than anyone else in the world?
Yeah.
And whatever you can do, I mean, if you have the competitive advantage, I mean, you ain't got to do too much prospecting. I mean, they're gonna pretty much find out about you, right? So I like that. That's pretty dope. Very creative.
How you doing? How was the boot camp?
Boot camp was really good. Yeah, we had a boot camp for 2 days. We're talking about these estate plan signings. It's interesting because I've done so many workshops, done so many webinars, and because of how busy it's been, I actually kind of like drew up slides and all that stuff like literally like on the day of. No, I want to say on the day of, probably the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I like to be a little bit more prepared because when the more prepared you are, I get to go over the slides. I can touch on each topic, but because I feel like I'm such an expert on how to perform estate plan signings, I was able to pull it off like on the day before, and then I just added a few things here and there, and on the day of, man, it was really good. I didn't stutter. Sometimes I have some moments when I stutter and I get thrown off a bit, but this one in particular, because I've done so many of these signings, it was really good. Like any question that they threw at me, boom, able to answer it. Some questions always, question not able to answer all the time, but really good. I feel like the notaries who all attended definitely got a lot of value from it.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much we just touched on most. I mean, the important part really is I was talking about the marketing strategies, but the one thing that I did in that boot camp that I didn't do in the other estate plan signing course was talk about the retaining your clients. Because it's real easy. I mean, in my opinion, it's easy to market yourself. Obviously, you just got to get out there and do it right. Acquiring a client is hard,
Right.
very difficult. It's even harder to retain them for a sustained period of time. Because, like I said, like I mentioned in the boot camp, I know we all like to say it's no competition, and I know we like to say that, right? Whereas I don't believe in competition, yada yada. But truth be told, we do have competition in our area, in our respective areas, and we do have other notaries out there that's trying to take our clients from us.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's nothing personal. It's just business. People are trying to feed their families. People are trying to build their businesses as well. So what I touched on the first time was like just how to retain your clients, how to build that customer loyalty. Just offline, just before we got on here, we was talking about Apple. How you was talking about how you had an Android, I got an Android, and then all your friends was like, "Yo, what are you doing? We don't with the green bubble. We ain't rocking with that." It's funny, right? But that right there shows you that the type of customer loyalty that Apple has built. That type of loyalty that's built. It's to the point where it's like if someone come to me talking about an Android, I'm like, ugh, like keep that away from me. I don't even want that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible, right? But I say that to say that if you have like attorneys or title companies that you work with, you want those clients to feel the same way about you.
Right.
So if they got another notary that's emailing them, cold calling them, and they're like, I'm cool, thanks. I already got my notary. And that's the same type of thing we were talking about. So I think that's a really important piece that we were talking about in boot camp, and then day 2. Talking about what we talked about day 2. Talked about best practices, something I didn't really touch on a lot as well. Previously, I would just talk about just going over the documents, how to explain the purpose of those documents or whatnot, but also talk about best practices and performing the signings or whatnot. So it was really good, really good. I was really excited about how we was able to do it. The replay is available. Anybody that's watching, the replay is available. You will get a ton of value from this course. I may end up probably just renaming it to like Estate Plan Signing 2.0 because I think it's actually better than the original course that I put out.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Really better, yeah.
That's
and then outside of that, business has been good. I'm not gonna lie, man. Business has been good. I've been very blessed. Very blessed. I had attended a conference like 2 weeks ago. It was called like the Financial Freedom Tour 2023. Shout out to Eva. She put together the conference. Had to get the VIP. Trying to get better with my finances, make better the financial decisions. I think that's going to pay off in the long run. But outside of that, I attend those conferences like mainly for relationships. Like, who can I meet? Because as we know, every industry needs a notary. You're going to need a document notarized at some point. Met a realtor up there who was like had a loan officer that I know. She introduced me to the realtor. She's like, "Oh, I just needed a notary just recently." So I ended up probably picking up about 3 or 4 contacts from that particular conference in general. Ended up following up with them, so that was pretty dope. And then I just recently joined a local networking group, and from there, I mean, like, just man, instant relationships that I've been able to build, new contacts. Obviously, those relationships are not as deep yet because I just joined the group. But yeah, man, I'll talk about joining those groups because just the introductions, the people that you're able to get in front of. With social media, it's easy for us to get on camera. It's easy for us to do these type of things. But for some reason, if you do this so much and you're always on your phone, when you actually come to like actually talking to people, like your communication may not be all the way there because you're just not accustomed to it. It may not be that you're just that type of person where you just don't get out and talk to people. You just don't have the skills because you're not accustomed to doing it.
Right.
So I'm really big on just always being able to go out, talk to people, touch the people, build those relationships because they could shut down social media at any point in time. As we've seen before, I think with Instagram, I think we'll shut down at one point and people were freaking out. So if you don't actually have the relationships out there and all your relationships are just on social media, you don't got no phone numbers, you don't have no rapport, kind of like stuck,
Thanks.
kind of stuck. So I don't want to be in that position. I always want to be able to actually say I can go out here. If they take away social media, if they take away the internet for any reason, I can go outside. I can actually talk to people, and I can actually do business with them just based on my communication skills. So that's pretty cool, man. Just trying to continue to talk to new people, build new relationships, and keeping this thing going. Just keeping this thing going.
That's good. Yeah, I would say last month was a really good month for me too. Probably the best month in my business so far. The other thing I have been learning is, like you're saying, just really kind of like weddings is such an emotional based business. Like, it's all about how you feel, how you want the couple to feel, and all of that. So I've just been figuring out how to be more personable within my business because I don't work as closely with my couples as some other wedding vendors do, right? We're putting together a ceremony. The ceremony is maybe 30 minutes. I'm not, I'm not a videographer. I'm not, going through all of these things and we're going to do this. We're going to have all these like planning meetings and stuff like that. So it's like, how can I get more personable in my business while they're going through like the different stages? So I'm just been adding different elements right now. I'm putting together a ceremony building guide, a little template on Canva. So that's going to be a part of like my onboarding process, my onboarding package. I'm very excited about that. I have this cute little interactive, not really interactive, but I did like a marriage license timeline. So when it's time for people to get their marriage license, they already know when they're supposed to get it. They know how they're supposed to get it. I have like a, little clickable links in there. And another element I've added is like when they actually pick up their marriage license to like send me a selfie. So that part has been really cool because now I have like my couples, sending their little selfie, like they're getting excited and stuff because wedding planning is so stressful. Like you got to deal with financial, you got to deal with society, you got to deal with pleasing your family, and you know what I mean? There's so many different elements that we really forget, and sometimes it's like, what the heck am I doing this for? Like, I just want to marry my person and be happy. So I really feel like it's by passion and purpose to make tying the knot have like intentional joy. And so that's kind of where I've been pivoting my business, is like to always re-emphasize the intentional joy of why you're doing all of this. Why are we even having these meetings? Why are you going through all that you're going through up until you walk down that aisle? So that part has been fun, and I'm starting to make additional videos for when my couples do sign up for their meetings, right? Because Calendly, they allow you to go to like a confirmation page, or you can send them to a different link. So now I'm going to be sending them to like a YouTube video of me, just talking to them about what this next stage is going to look like, what their next, appointment is going to look like with me. So just adding those different elements in there to, again, just like re-emphasize what the experience of working with me is like. Like I said, doubling down on that intentional joy and just making this process overall easy, at least this part of the process overall easy. Because, my whole thing is help you tie the knot with ease and joy. So I got to bring the ease and I got to bring the joy. So that part has been really dope. I've been enjoying myself with like writing the script. I haven't filmed too many of the videos yet, but I have all of my scripts done. So I'm excited for that. And shout out to all my couples who've just been helping me develop. They make me better for my next couple, so that part has been dope. So I've been 2.0ing, myself as well. Y'all don't get to see it, but my couple see it.
I think, and that's one of the benefits to like going deeper into your craft, being a master of your craft, because like you said, each couple is making you better. You find a new way, new creative ways to continue to add value to your couples, to the point where it's like, it's going to get to a point where it's like, why would I do at a wedding with anybody else but you?
Yeah.
When you at that point, it's like, man, that's like butter at that point. Yeah. It's to the point, it's to a point where you just saw such a master of your craft. It was like you look stupid going anywhere else. Like, you gonna go with them over me? All right. Let's see how your wedding go. I think that's pretty dope, man. That's super dope.
Yeah, the goal is always that conversion rate. Like, once you get into the consultation, you need to leave. Like, the consultation to be over. I need to send you that contract, and you need to look at your man. Like, we gotta pick her. Like, you was there, right? Like, we gotta pick. Like, that's where I'm at. That's what, like, my goal is to get there with all of my couples. A lot of my couples lately, like, my bookings have been, coming in like right after my consultation. So my conversion rate is really good, but there's always room for improvement, and there's always ways to make that customer experience the best. But it all depends on, their actual journey. So everything, like, you're gonna have a great ceremony. I'm gonna include everything you want me to say. I'm gonna fill out the paperwork correctly. But up until you walk down that aisle, what has it been like interacting with me and my business? I want it to always be, like I said, joyful and easy. She always made the process seamless, and I always had a good time chatting with her. Good. That's what I want.
Man. When you easy to work with, obviously, when you easy to work with, word gets around. That's when more referrals coming in, because referrals is the best type of business. Being easy, you can't. I don't even know what's the word I'm looking for, but you can't put. I can't even think the word I'm looking for. But being easy to work with is so underrated.
Yeah,
people don't understand that. When you difficult to work with, it's like, let's get this over with. Let's get this over with. And I've experienced that, where I've dealt with like notaries where, like, sometimes it just be so. Sometimes they make it difficult to work. They make it difficult to work with them just based on their communication, based on their professionalism. And it's like, dude, this is so easy. Like, what are you doing? It's like, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, let me speed this up. Let me make sure you get paid like right now, and let me.
Yeah, wipe my hands.
Yeah, you want to be easy to work with. You don't want to be. Why would you want to be a difficult person to work with? Like, especially in business. Because you never know what people know. You never know what type of relationships or bridges you may be burning by just being a difficult person to work with, just in general. So yeah, I feel that all the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before I let I gotta mention too. Last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Had my first 1K day of the year.
Hey.
Yes, that's the second one I had. I had my first one last year, and the second one, the first one last year, I was pretty excited about, because I never done $1,000 in business before, which is like, or just do $1,000 in general in a day.
Yeah.
But I had a second one. I've been chasing the second one for the longest, and that second one, when it came, about 2 weeks ago, it was on a Friday out of all days. I was even tempered about it. Obviously, I was excited, but I was even tempered about it, and it just made me think of, and it's going to lead us to our topic, just thinking about the journey up to that point.
Right.
The journey up to that point. I've been in the business. It'll be 6 years going in October, and I was just thinking like, man, to do $1,000 a day, I'm working for like signing services mainly, and being happy just to get a $75 check.
Right.
Just waiting 30 days just to make $75, right? And just being grateful to have opportunities and being grateful to have establish certain relationships. And we to the point now where it's like, all right, if a signing service texts me, I don't get anxiety about if I need to take on the signing or not, or I gotta move things around, because I've gotten to a point with my business where I absolutely don't need the middleman because I've become one. And then on top of that, we have, like I said, we have other streams of how to make money within the notary business. And not to mention, which is the more important part, I'm just thankful that I don't gotta wait 30 to 45 days to get paid anymore.
Okay.
Man, that could be like, if you don't got any other sources of income coming in, man, that could be real. It could be really painful waiting on that money. Like I remember it was days where I used to be like, I literally wake up, let me go to the mailbox. I know it's something in there for me. Maybe they may have sent the check early, you know. Just doing it every single day. Just, when bills coming up, and like, again, that was like my main source of income. Didn't really have any direct business. My Google page, I didn't really understand Google, or didn't have any knowledge really of how to make, how to generate income in the notary business. So I was really thankful just to really have that 1K day. Just thinking about the journey along the way. I remember when I first got into the business, I had worked with the signing service. Now at the time, I didn't understand that you had to wait 30 to 45 days to get paid when you work with signing services. I think I did like 5 or 6 signings for this one company in particular. And I'm like blowing them up. Like, where's my check? Where's my money? Where's my money? Like literally blowing them up. And I'm thinking like, oh, y'all trying to play me, yada, yada, yada. But my dumb ass, I didn't even read the instructions. I'm just making assumptions about this company, and I don't even know any better. Until it got to a point where it's like, you know what, let's just pay him and keep it pushing. And so I was just thinking about that. And then, like I said, like fast forward years later, I was like, man, like I really built a foundation that's solid. It's all real. We know how to answer the phone. We know how to make money outside of signing services. We just know how to just keep this thing going. So I say that to say, man, if you are watching this, if you're dealing with some struggles, which is going to be, like I still have my struggles on a day-to-day basis. I think along the way, until trying to get to your destination, you gotta embrace it. You gotta have fun along the way. It's not gonna always be peaches and cream, obviously, but yeah, you gotta have joy. You gotta have joy in the journey, because when you do get to the destination, it's like, all right, once you get there, it's like, okay, what's next?
Right.
What's the next thing? It doesn't. I mean, you can only look at the scoreboard for so long, because 24 hours later, it's a new day, and you got to get started again. And so, I say that to say, when I had that second 1K day, I really took a chance to just reflect, be appreciative, be grateful for everything that's happened along the way, and just building a solid business. So nowhere close to where I'm trying to get to, but I'm really been happy about the progress that I've been making, and just in life and just in business in general. So hopefully we can, not hopefully, but the goal is to consistently have these $1,000 days in business, which I didn't think was a real thing in the notary business, by the way.
Nah, I agree with you. I had my first 1K day.
Let's go.
One day last month. Now I can't remember the day, but I remember texting you about it. But I
was very excited about that too.
I was like, wait, hold on, like what? And it's so funny because Corinne like recently, like had hers, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. And the one thing that I always love about me and Corinne, if you don't know who that is, she is like my co-host for the Woman Always podcast, but we've always been like close in our journeys, but she's always been kind of, a little bit ahead of me, which I love, because when she makes those, I know that mine is coming very soon. You know what I mean? And it's all about like that proximity piece or whatever. So, for me, it was like, I got somebody booked my VIP package, which is $750, which that got booked like 4 times last month. I was just like, wait, what? Like, hold on. This is crazy. And I remember when I first like moved my prices up, you know, the first time that someone purchased it, you're just like, okay, I know I can repeat it, but it's always scary to see if anybody's even going to get it the first time. And so, you know, it just shows that you can communicate your value, you understand your value, and it's important enough that somebody else is willing to pay it. So to have that happen, you know, a couple of times over, it's just like mind blowing. But then to have it happen, and I think my other thing was I had an estate plan. I had an estate plan done for a woman, yup, and her granddaughter. And this was actually the second time they used me. Unfortunately, I did it the first time for them, and somebody threw all the papers away like a couple months later. So they had to double back and get it all again. But they still call. I was their first call, and I, you know, performed literally the same things I did for them before. And shout out to you for even with the additional witnesses, because that's what brought, you know, me up into like, I think I charged like 300 for it, but it's like, all right, you got your 2 witnesses and you got everything that you need. Okay. And I was like, wait, hold on. And then I also sell sea moss. So I sold my little $30 jar of sea moss. So
that's a whole little upsell right there. Let's go. I like that.
So it was like right on the money. And I was like, okay, all of my revenue streams have produced in the same day to bring me, you know, to this number. And it just was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, sometimes we don't even make $1,000 in the whole month, let alone a day. So if you hearing this, you heard him say he got to his second one, I got to my first one. That means your first one is coming soon if you ain't there yet, because it's all about proximity. It's all about, you know, I feel like once you hear it, okay, cool. That still feels a little far. You see it, meaning you see people that are around you that's doing it. It feels a little bit closer. That means like you're literally right there. You know, the possibility of it is very true. It's very real. It feels far-fetched in the beginning, but once you start seeing it happening around you, that means it's like it's so close to you. It's knocking on your door. You just gotta focus up one way or another, whether it's finding your niche, whether it's marketing more, whether it's double downing on your relationships, whether it's, you know, networking and getting your brand awareness out there, whatever it is, whatever shift you need to make it, because you're so close. You're literally so close. So
very close.
That was dope.
Yeah, it is. Like, and again, I wasn't like, again, I didn't even like that. Like, and again, that goes back to like have enjoying the journey up until this point. I was like, to hear someone to say that they can make $1,000 in a day, I'm thinking like, how is that even real? How can you make $1,000 in a day? Like doing what? You know, like what are you doing that's gonna make you $1,000 in a day? But this is got to give a shout out to Charles, my man Ty Billion. He was one of the first people that I seen, like especially like when I started following him on like on Instagram and Twitter. He was one of the first people that I seen to put out there like, oh, you can make $1,000 in a day, and he would like post receipts of you actually doing it. And I'm thinking to myself like, wait, you can do $1,000 in a day? Like that's a real thing. And so when you actually see people actually putting that out there, it starts to make you think, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it?
Yep.
You know, so for the longest time, I would get really close. Like I've had days where we do $500 in a day, which is still pretty good because there's people that only make $500 in a week. So to do that in a day is pretty good.
Yep.
Having a $400 day, a $600 day, I had a $700 day where like I've been really close. But you know, that coveted $1,000 day is something I've been trying to get for the longest time. And so when you actually do it, like once you do it the first time around, that pretty much proves that it can be done. Because all you need is really proof of concept. You only need to be right like once. Because if you're right once, and that means okay, I can actually do this again. Yep. And so to actually have that second one and actually do it through Notary, because I always think like if I had to do $1,000 in a day, I probably would need to have to do something else. When in actuality, you don't have to do something. You don't have to actually do something else. And to get to that point, you know, I was like, yo, very excited because to find out I could do it in the notary business and then on top of that, incorporating the online business on top of that, I was like, oh yeah, how can I do this every day?
Right.
Like, how can I do this every day, man? It's a really dope moment because I used to work at this plant doing security. And I kid you not, like my best like weeks, I make like $500 in a week. You know, that's pretty much what I was making. I was like after taxes.
Right.
So to do that and like to consistently do that, like I could consistently have like $500 days, $300 days. I think yesterday we had a $335 day yesterday just in total revenue. And you get to it. I've done it so much. It was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like I don't get too high about it anymore because now you get to a point where you expect that. And I think that's another thing too. When you reach new levels, like within just in your life and just in business, there's an expectation that I expect to win. Oh, I expect to do this.
Yep.
And then normally when you expect to do a particular thing, it actually happens.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to set the expectation like, yo, I need to do $1,000 a day every single day. Now it doesn't happen all the time, but I keep throwing stuff at the wall. Like, yo, I know something's gonna stick. I know this is gonna work.
Yeah.
And you said something, and I want to touch on this as well, because you do serve New Jersey, right?
Yep.
And you did make $300 on that estate plan signing, right?
Yep.
For all my Jersey folks out there, because I had some Jersey people in my, I get a lot of Jersey people, which is pretty cool. I got New Jersey, by the way. I get a lot of New Jersey people, which is really cool. That was in my boot camp the other day, and they were asking about. We was talking about how to make money when the state that you operate in doesn't really allow you to make too much per signature.
Right.
So I always, like charge a flat rate. So I don't know if you're open to talking about it, but can you talk about how you were able to make $300 on this estate plan signing?
It's funny because we had this conversation before, and then I had this conversation with Corinne as well.
Yeah.
And I think that when we get into the notary business, we get so stuck on, and some states you have to do this, right? Because some states do have these type of restrictions. New Jersey does not, though. Yeah. But we get so stuck on, we have to follow the laws to the T. We can only charge a stamp price, as if a travel price, a convenience price does not exist, right? When you go to your hairstylist, how much you paying? Whatever it is that she asks you to pay. You ain't thinking, how much, it costs for these bundles. Well, these bundles only cost $50, but you charging me $150. So it's $100 for the labor. No, you paying that $150. You're paying the price that she is asking you to pay. And it's very similar, again, in the notary business, specifically in New Jersey, because we don't have a restriction for our mileage or for our travel. Now, if you live in a state that does, that's a different conversation. That ain't my state. Sorry. Sorry to y'all people, move. But, in our state in particular, it's like, yes, you can, you lawfully have to charge the $2.50 for that stamp price. But again, you bring in witnesses, you can assign whatever you want to, the fee of bringing a witness, because that's a convenience piece. You typically got to pick up the witness. You got to find the witness. They got to make it their way to that appointment. They have to serve their time there as well. And then they have to travel back to wherever they need to travel to. So you assign a price for that witness fee, the same way you assign a price for your expertise. They can go to a UPS, they can go to their local library, but a lot of the times they have to find an independent notary, because those other entities don't want to take on that liability, but you are willing to. So they need to pay you for you being willing to take on that liability. And that's why these other entities don't do power of attorneys and estate planning documents and real estate documents, because if something goes left, which is why we have E&O insurance, right? Or be bonded, or whatever type of protective insurance that we have for our business. That's the reason why they don't have those things, and they don't want that liability. But for you willing to take that on, you can essentially assign a price to that. So the stamp costs $2.50, but your knowledge costs more than that. Your travel costs more than that, and the convenience costs more than that. And that's how you have to think about it. So don't get limited, especially because we do not have to be limited in New Jersey. Like I said, some states do. That's why it's important to know your state laws. But there's a lot of states who don't have any like fees or any minimums when it comes to their travel. Some of them don't have any fees or any minimums when it comes to their stamp price. And some people's stamp price is higher than ours. So we really can't go off of somebody else's, or like what another person in another state is doing. But you have to look at what's best for your business. And you stamping documents for $2.50 is not going to pay your bill. So it's giving hobby. and we don't want to give hobby, we want to
Right.
give business.
Right.
So we have to think about it in that way. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I hear that a lot, and I have this conversation a lot with people, and I think that's another reason why they kind of limit notaries as well, especially in New Jersey, because our stamp price is so low. It's like, oh, you're not going to make no money with that. Well, speak for yourself.
Facts. And I appreciate you for sharing that, because I think the biggest piece is obviously knowing your state laws. Like a lot of it really is knowing your state laws, doing your market research, and knowing different being creative.
Yeah.
It's like you said, I can only make $2.50 per signature. Yeah, that's not going to be to my advantage, right? But what I can charge is for time spent being at this appointment. What I can charge is my expertise, my ability to be able to execute these documents, flawlessly with no errors or no inaccuracies or anything of that nature. So you just got to be a little creative. Don't always accept things for base value.
Right.
I think that's a big piece. I'm one of those kind of people. Like, you just can't tell me anything. Like, you just can't say, oh, this is what it is and that's that. Like, nah, there's got to be some loopholes around this, legal loopholes, of course, but there's got to be some other ways I can get around this and be able to be a little creative from an aspect and, performing this type of signing. And so say that to say, like, you don't always have to just go based off your, like, $2.50 is crazy. That is crazy to me. Like, I wouldn't even go for that. Like, yeah, I was talking about that. I was like, yeah, you got to find different ways. Like, you find different ways to get paid. Like, whether it's based on your time, whether it's based on your expertise. If you spend time trying to find a witness, and it's not easy to find a witness. Like, that's time that's being spent to actually coordinate this entire process. And so, they're paying you for your time. They're paying you for your expertise. They're paying you for your ability to coordinate this process. And when you actually leave that signing, just like you say, each couple makes you better. Each signing that you perform or I perform is going to make us better. Because not only did we get paid for that service, but we know the next time around, it's like, oh, I didn't know I could do this. Now I know for the next time around, if I come across this type of situation, I know how to handle this the next time around. I'm going to be better from that. So I appreciate you for sharing that, because I get a lot. Yeah, I get a ton of Jersey folks. It's like, man, they hit me with the sad face, like, oh, you're going to do $2.50 per signature. It's like, nah, I mean, that's unfortunate, but you can get around that. Yeah, especially like states where, like, I'm jealous. I get jealous of certain states, like Tennessee in particular, where they don't got no cap on their travel fee. They don't got a cap on how much they can charge per signature. I am jealous, because if I was in Tennessee, I'd be going crazy.
And it's funny, because I think if you look on the NNA, you look at the fee schedule, some states even says like, oh, the customer just has to agree to the fee before, you go out there, something like that. And it's like, they all do, you know what I mean? Like, they literally all, you have to agree to the fee before I come out there, because you need to pay it. Or even if we agreed for you to pay me when I get there, it's still something that's an agreed upon fee that, you're going to have to pay. But I was going to say, just again, being creative, especially when you have people that come to you in, like, desperate situations. A lot of notaries, they are like, they are very much in a box. They're in their little, they're in the box, or they're in the books of the manual, and they don't look at anything outside of that. They don't think about, they don't cognitively like think out a problem. And that's all that we are as, entrepreneurs. We say it all the time, but we're literally, problem solvers. So sometimes you get, people in situations where it's like, oh, no notary is able to help me with, I had a signing the other day, and a woman's like, no notary has been able to help us because this person has like an expired ID. And it's like, okay, they literally cannot move, they can't leave from their situation, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you also can use 2 credible witnesses. Right. So it's just like, and in those moments, because you're more creative and you know the law, like, that's ideal. Of course, you want to use that expired photo ID to verify, their identity in that regard as well. But then you have 2 credible, if they're in a facility, these people know them backwards and forwards. They know their medical history. They know their birthday. They know they can verify that they're a credible, that this person is who they are, and that's your credible witness. You know what I mean? So even something like that. Now, I don't know what that other notary would have charged her, but now this woman is going to only go with me and whatever it is that I charge her, because I've created a solution to her problem instead of giving her more problems. Like, figure out how to get this man in the car and make an appointment at the DMV to go there. You know what I mean? And create all of these additional issues instead of being like, well, we can use 2 credible witnesses for literally anything else.
Yeah.
You can do it for this situation as well. And it's even more realistic, again, because this person is in this healthcare facility that he has been in, so the staff can vouch for them, the social worker, like there's so many personnel at this facility that can vouch, that can be credible witnesses and attest to this person's identity. So even small stuff like that is what's going to set you apart. And even when I left her, she was like, oh girl, I'm telling everybody about you. Run, tell them. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Go do that. And so that's what you want. You want raving like customers and raving reviews to talk about what it is that you do and what sets you apart from, maybe another notary that's online. They look at your reviews, they look at their reviews. Their reviews is just 5 stars. Your reviews is 5 stars. Plus, they did this. They were so quick. They were so convenient, so personable. So, all of these professional, all of these other things, they're going to go with you.
I need some drops because you spitting right now. Spitting right now.
Come on.
Spitting, man.
It's been 3 weeks. I gotta get my 3 weeks worth out.
Spitting right now. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, really knowing your state laws, knowing how to solve a problem. I think you touched on this as well. I think notaries, especially when they new, you get into the business, you're so focused on just being by the book. You're like, oh, if it's not in my handbook, I can't do it. I was like, no, there's ways for you to be creative in solving the problem and still going by the handbook and thinking outside of the box, but still being in the box at the same time. I hope I'm making sense here.
Yes.
Meaning you can still be creative, but doing it in a way where it's still legal. Yes. You're not putting yourself or you're not putting the signers at risk as well. And so again, just come down to just being creative, like just stop accepting things for face value. Because if you bypass it, more than likely, I had that happen to me all the time where I'll have like clients, they'll call me about a specific problem. They say, hey, I'm trying to get this taken care of, but this notary said I can't do this. I just want to get a second opinion. And then when I ask them about the situation, and then they tell me what it is, and then I ask them, I was like, the notary told you this? I was like, no, actually you can do X, Y, and Z, and then this is the way to get around that. Okay, yeah, can we get this set up? And then we get it taken care of. But again, if you don't know your laws, and a lot of too is like experience and like being able to like ask questions. I know for me, when I came into the business, she about to make an appearance. Made an appearance in my boot camp as well. A lot of times, it's really just having people who you can rely on to ask questions to. Because if you try to go into this like trying to figure out everything on your own, I mean, a lot of times you're gonna leave a lot of opportunities on the table. Like, not every appointment is going to be the same. Like, you're gonna have like people. Like, I've had notaries. I've had people tell me that notaries have actually turned down the client because the person may have an expired witness, have an expired ID. I was like, yeah, they wouldn't be able to notarize your document with an expired ID, but as long as you have 2 credible witnesses, you should be all set to go.
Yes.
Oh yeah, why didn't they tell me that? I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't tell you that. A lot of times too, like just being creative. You got to be willing to take the risk as well. And then even if you do take on the appointment, if you go to the appointment and you see something is not, you see something is a little off, like really our main job really is to deter fraud. At the end of the day, our job is to deter fraud. If you're in a situation where this may be a little funny and you feel like the person is being coerced, then at that point it's like, okay, I don't want to take on this type of signing because this is not an environment that I want to particularly be in, because I feel like the signer feels like they're being coerced, they're not aware of what's going on, and then that's the time to leave. Yep. But if you go to the signing and they probably just don't know what you're doing, then you're gonna lose business. So I appreciate you for sharing that, because I've run into so many notaries who operate in these states where, like I said, they may be only charged $2.50 for a signature. Or Georgia is another state. I think they can only charge like $2 per signature, right? But I come across notaries all the time in Georgia. That's doing like $200 for a signing. I just seen a screenshot from Andre Hatchett, or he had someone that texted him, a notary in Georgia, by the way. They charged $230 and made $230 in 30 minutes for a couple of signatures. So it was like, it's doable.
It's
Right?
possible.
It's possible, but again, you got to give it to the right people. You got to do your due diligence. You got to do your market research, and you got to know what you can and can't charge. And if you know you can only charge so much per signature, again, the ways to get around that: get paid for your expertise, get paid for your time spent at the appointment, get paid for the time spent coordinating a witness or whatever the signer requires, and that's what you charge on.
And your travel. You go into people's houses, you're mobile for a reason. That's really the biggest convenience piece. And so many people, like, you're going to get those calls from people like, okay, well, can I come to you for $2.50? No, you know, if you're willing to drive on a UPS at this point, you know what I mean? But that's another thing. It's like not everybody's customer is your customer. And I find myself sometimes getting frustrated when it comes to like general notary work. So people needing like single status affidavits or just like, one page things, and they're not willing to pay that little $50 or whatever. And that is perfectly fine, because what I would rather is have my line clear for the person who's willing to pay $300, just go find, who is for you. But I think that really comes into one, understanding how much you want to charge, how much you want to make for your business, and that not every like sometimes general notary work is just not going to afford you that. Like you're just not going to get that from that. People are not willing to pay that. They don't understand the importance. Maybe their documents don't have that much liability, so they really can go anywhere. They just wanted to, look on Google first. And shout out to you for showing up on Google. So that also means, you're doing what you need to do in terms of that as well. But maybe you need to be a little bit more precise about what you're putting out there on Google, so you're attracting the customers that you want, meaning they're going to pay for the services that you provide, and it's going to be a little bit more because of your knowledge, because of your travel, because of the convenience, your expertise, and things of that nature. You're gonna have some people that's like $150, like that's it, and you'd be like, well, dang, should I maybe a little bit more?
Damn, I should have said more. I hate when that happens. Or
sometimes they're just like, okay, you feel like, well, dang, if I would have added $25, they probably would have, that as well. So you live and you learn, and you don't want to price gouge people, never. It's not that serious. But the point is, you have to understand that some people are willing to pay more because they understand the importance and the convenience, and other people don't care about the importance of the convenience. They just want this done for the cheapest amount possible. So you have to figure out what your customer is.
Can't say it any better. Knowing what you can charge in your market, doing your research, knowing who's undercharging, knowing who's overcharging, like knowing those, like you got to know all that stuff. A lot of this is just like doing your homework. Not something you got to do every single time, but just knowing what you can charge is a very key piece.
That, and also being realistic about the time spent. I feel like that's something that also happens, because like I was marketing POAs at my local hospital. Yes, it's maybe like 5 or 10 minutes away from me, but I was charging $150 for a POA, and there was someone who started marketing there, and they were charging $50. So when I get the call and they're like, "What, the other person charging $50?" I'm just like, right. I'm just like, okay, like you can't just match me at this point, and it's just whoever get called first. But you're undercutting. But at the same time, it's like you still gotta drive there, you still gotta pay for parking, regardless. Even if you park on the street or parking a lot, you still gotta pay for parking. You gotta wait in this long behind security line. Sometimes you gotta wait for the doctors to leave. Like the time spent is a variable you do not know. And so you have to account for all of those too. So maybe that appointment only took you 15 minutes, but I've been there for 45, and you don't know until you step in the door. You know what I mean? So you got to account for, all of that. And the same thing with weddings, like doing jail weddings. You definitely want to charge some more for doing jail weddings. It's a whole different process. You have to park, you have to walk, you have to go through security, you have to wait for them to bring, the person out. sometimes an incident happens and now you're locked in. Now your whole day is spent there, and any money you thought you was getting today, now you not. You know what I mean? And that's a real possibility doing anything at a prison, whether it's general notary work, specialty notary work, weddings. I've worked at prisons before. I know. I've been stuck there all day. Like, it's the worst, but it's nothing you can do because you're in jail with everybody else. Like, when you're in jail, you're in jail. So you definitely want to take that into consideration. So I always tell people that, do jail weddings, charge a little bit more, because it's beyond convenience. It's like you're literally being locked in with them for that however amount of time.
That's nasty, man. How do you try to undercut someone by $100? That is nasty. And the cold part about that, right? If they do take on that appointment and it goes longer than expected, you're not even profitable at that point.
Nope.
You're not even profitable. That just based on the time that you spent at that signing. Oh, that's nasty. Undercut someone by $100, especially for a power of attorney.
Right.
And for most power of attorney signings that I've done, I don't think they've ever been less than $100. I don't think it, because most of them most of them require about 2 or 4 signatures anyway. And speaking of power of attorney, I just notarized a document yesterday for a gentleman. He was 103 years old.
Oh, that's dope.
103 years old, needed a power of attorney notarized. I was thinking to myself, like, man, you probably about 40 years late, but hey, better late than never, right?
Right.
I would have thought that, you would have got that taken care of years ago, but hey, man, they got it done. So, yeah, that's nasty. To undercut someone by $100 just to get, to me at that point, I was like, okay, bro, you really thirsty, man. Like, you really thirsty, man. That's really nasty.
Like, at that point, you can have it, but it's still like, and I still get calls from that hospital. And also, I think sometimes, because again, depending on your customer, what they're looking like, what they're used to, them looking at that $50, like, you know what you're doing? Like that makes people nervous as well, especially when you know the importance of this document. Like, this is going to give me power over this person's life, make decisions for them financially, make decisions for, their healthcare and things of that nature. Like, it's a very serious document. I think sometimes even us as notaries, especially beginning out, that's why I love that you have, like, you've niched out to estate plannings and it's teaching about the importance of, because a lot of times we don't even understand the importance of, and that's why we're okay accepting $50. Not knowing all the liability that comes with putting your name on this powerful document.
$50 for $50 in general. I mean, just think about that. One, you go into a healthcare facility, COVID, all kind of diseases, stuff that you may not know, may not be privy to what's going on inside the facility. You're dealing with a very powerful document, right? So sometimes people, where they get their documents from, like I recently had someone who had a power of attorney, went to I think hospice and got it signed, but when they took it up to the bank, it got rejected because they didn't have a spot for them to fill the witness section. They didn't have a spot for witnesses. So imagine if you charge somebody $50 to do the document, but then they need you to come back out again to get it signed. And then you say, oh yeah, I'll get taken care of for you free of charge. So that's time spent again that you got to go to the signing and get it done correctly. So undercutting someone just to get their business, and then you don't even know what you're doing. It just like from a business standpoint, like it just doesn't make it. It does not make sense. Literally does not make sense, especially with all the signatures and everything that's involved with it, and just how powerful that document is. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Before we wrap up, I got to talk about, because I know people going to talk about factors into how you can make $1,000 in a day. I want to add what I did to have my second 1K day was we had like 2 estate plan signings. I had like 3 affidavit signings that day. We had a couple of courses that was sold as well. And so with all of those in total, I think, I don't know the exact prices, but all of that factored into making 1K in a day. So if you're a notary watching this, making $1,000 in a day in the notary business is very possible. You just got to diversify the type of services that you offering. So that could be loan signings. It could be a couple of loan signings in a day. It could be a couple of estate plan signings, power of attorneys, affidavit signings, all of that in general. And if you have a digital product, all of that entails in making $1,000 in a day. So When you look at it, when you actually break it down, yeah, it may seem like a lot initially, but it's like, man, $1,000 a day, how can you really do that? And when you break down the services that you offer, right, and then you break down the numbers for those services and the people paying you, that will definitely equal out to $1,000 a day. So it's very realistic. You can actually do it. You just gotta know your prices. You gotta know what your offer is, and then you just go from there.
Listen, that's a fact. And you already know in the wedding world, I mean, our prices is a little bit different. They're a little bit grander, but it's just about brand awareness, getting yourself out there. It's about, really guiding that couple to schedule that consultation to learn more about your business and just really selling yourself and your value and all of the things that you're going to provide for them during that consultation to make them think like, okay, there is no other option. The vibes check out. She's getting everything that we need to get done. She's done this before. She's very enthusiastic and passionate about what it is that she's doing. Like, she really sold herself and her services to me. Like, how else can I, go with anybody else? And for me, that's like 2 of my middle packages, or my largest package and my smallest package, or 2 of my larger packages. So, it's just different ways that you can do it. And then coupling up with that notary business, come on, like, why not? And I learned from Stamp. So trust me, I probably also been a $50 notary if I didn't get my mentorship on.
Charging $50 for a power of attorney is like undercutting someone by $100. That is crazy to me. It's like the time, again, like you're not even profitable at that point, because you have some signers, like especially if you're doing like at the hospital, sometimes they have like writing issues. They may not be able to write as fast. You just never know. It's like not every hospital signing or nursing home signing is going to be the same. Like,
yes,
going for a test. It's not all not going to be the same. And so, imagine you didn't spend an hour or so, because a lot of time really is just like filling in your journal as well. That's another key piece as well. Yeah. So to charge $50 for a hospital signing and for a power of attorney, ooh, that's nasty. Nah, man, y'all need to get paid a little bit more, man. Don't be that person. Don't be the $30 notary, man. Don't do that.
As Coach Bruce always says, you don't bring down your price, you add your value. So definitely, if you see somebody else that's charging a little bit more, figure out, like how you can add to your business so that you can reach that as well. Like, we don't want to stay capped off. You definitely want to grow. And if somebody else can charge that, then, you can too. You just got to figure out what communicated value can you show a customer that they'll be willing to pay that.
Facts. Great show. We do got to wrap up. We still got business we got to run as well. We hope y'all all got a ton of value from this today. As always, we got to do our shameless plugs before we head out. What you got coming up, Tara?
Oh, so we're going to have our first virtual wedding officiant social. We had a couple people reach out to us that were outside of the state that could not make it to the in-person. Like, okay, girl, but can we get a Zoom? So we're bringing a Zoom. We are bringing a Zoom. It is going to be April 27th, which I think is a Thursday. If I'm not mistaken, it is a Thursday. So that is coming out. I have to shout out Corinne. She gonna kill me for saying this, but season 3 of Womanomics it's in the works. We are getting everything ready.
Season 3?
We are on season 3. We are on season 3, so we're super excited for that. And every season we try to add a different element to it. So this one is going to be really, really, really good, and we're like in the midst of really just planning it out. And then I gotta shout out Norman too. Norman's doing what he needs to do. He is just opening up. Notarize with Norm. He's doing what he needs to do. Okay, but he is starting to do mentorship, and I'm super excited for him. His messaging is so good. His branding is so good. I mean, I speak very highly of him because I work with him, but even in the wedding space, like my couples, he's my number 2. And so I let couples know if I'm not able to do it, this is a person that I go with, and they look them up and they're like, yeah, I'm cool with that plan. And I'm like, all right, awesome. But it just really shows to how he portrays himself online and how he gets get to his business. So I'm very proud of him for stepping out and doing this mentorship. He has a 4 and a 6 week program. So if you are interested, definitely hit him up. Notarize with Norm. He is stamped by me. Okay. And that's all y'all need to know. But yes. Very good. But that's me.
Shout out to Womenomics, hardest working sister business right now. I need to come back on there again, man. Hopefully I can come on there and talk about something. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, but yeah, I would love to get in the room because y'all been season 3.
Oh wait,
seasons.
One more thing. Corinne's birthday is tomorrow, so if y'all see Freedom Notary online or Maryland Prime Notary, make sure you tell her happy birthday. Okay, her birthday is tomorrow.
Happy B-Day, Corinne. Salute to Corinne, Freedom Notary. Make sure y'all give her a follow as well. And I think that she has an ebook as well.
Yeah, she has an ebook, The Notary Pivot.
Yeah. Salute, on how to create your first digital product, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. I still remember. Salute to Corinne. Salute to Nora too. Yeah, I'm gonna add this in about Nora. Every time I got a signing that I post in the community, he always shares it. He always share, be like looking out. Yeah, salute to Norm. He always showing love, man. That's a good brother right there. Salute to Norm. Let me get my shameless plug in, man, because we got stuff coming up as well, y'all. I got a workshop coming up this Thursday. It's called Meal Planning to Help You Reach Your Health Goals. It'll be with Alicia Connor. She's a dietitian and nutritionist as well. Yeah, this is something new. I haven't done a webinar with a dietitian before. Obviously, we got to be in our business every day. We're in our business every single day, and we got to have the energy to keep this thing going, right? So if we're not eating right, if we're not doing things to help us reach, it's gonna be hard to get that 110% in your business every day. So we'll be live streaming this Thursday. It'll be at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be on StreamYard live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So definitely check that out. If you're a notary watching this, you're looking to get more business, please make sure you join the Stamper community. I'm always looking for new notaries to work with, just be able to have opportunities in general, because I get signings in areas that I may not be familiar with or may not have a notary in that area. So if you could save me from going on signingagent.com or any of those platforms, I would definitely love for you to be a part of our community and be able to collaborate with you as well. And then we have the replay to the 2-day estate plan signing bootcamp, which is going to be renamed to Estate Plan Signing 2.0. If you're looking to build your business with estate plan signings, if you're not really getting too many loan signings coming through the door, the market is literally wide open for estate plan signings. If you didn't listen, Sierra just made $300 on an estate plan signing. So it's very doable, very doable. We talk about marketing strategies that you can use to book estate plan signings. We talk about client retention strategies that you can use so you can continue to retain those clients, build that customer loyalty so they'll look stupid going outside of any notary, outside of you. We also got document review. We'll also go over best practices as well. So you go to the signing table with confidence knowing that you're going to get these documents signed and executed correctly. Limited sale right now for $50. I think it's only limited to the first 20 or 25 people. So I only got a few copies left at that price because the price will be going up. I guarantee the price will be going up by the time you're probably done watching this, because this is the only course available in the market where you can actually learn how to do estate plan signings effectively and how to market for the service. So make sure you hit the website, hit the link. It'll be in the show notes. It's also at the bottom of the ticker as well. Make sure you grab it. It's a very valuable course. I'm guaranteeing that you're going to make money as soon as you buy this course. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in today. We was back like we never left. We were a couple weeks missing the action, but we're going to get things back rolling again. We'll see you all again next week on Tuesday.
Yep. Bye, y'all.